As a nation, we're not very good at asking for help. We think it's a sign of weakness to admit that we don't have all the answers. But in the military, I learnt that we came to depend on the expertise of others. So when I had to leave the army and forge ahead with a new life and a new career, I realised that I'd need some specialist advice. And the specialist I chose was a business coach.
Tony Harris is a former captain in the British Army. He was injured in Afghanistan and went on to create Race to Recovery, a race team for injured servicemen which became the first ever team of amputees to complete the infamous Dakar Rally. Tony's still heavily involved with Race to Recovery and will be racing Dakar again, but he's also working to build a new business for himself, having now left the army. To help him do this, he's teamed up with Action business coach Derry to bring his plans to life.
I think during the build-up and obviously for Dakar, everything was focused on Race to Recovery. I didn't put a great deal of thought into what I was actually going to do long-term with my life. So I struggled with the idea of how I could get paid to do these things and how much am I worth as an individual, and realised very, very quickly that if I was going to go down this route, I would need to get some professional help to assist me with formulating exactly what my purpose was, structuring the way the business would work and how we're going to make this successful. That was probably one of the best decisions I made, certainly early on, was the idea of getting someone to bring their experience to bear, albeit in a totally different area of business, but actually there's a lot of similarities across the board. And also someone I could bat ideas off.
Business coaching may have come as something of a revelation to Tony, but for Claire, becoming a coach was a logical move.
When I started coaching, I suddenly realised that this was something that I really enjoyed doing. And I think I've always had a sporty background as well, and I just got it. You know, it was that realisation that when you go to the gym, if you're in a class or you have a personal trainer, you do much more than you do if you're just on your own at the gym. And in the same way, having a business coach that actually puts together a training program, as it were, which is the business plan, and then holds you accountable to do the things you've said you'd do, is an amazing focus. And it's a lot of people just don't have that. They just keep on that treadmill, just keep on doing and doing, not necessarily doing anything that's actually going to take them to where they want to go. And if you carry on doing the same thing all of the time, you make the same mistakes.
Tony, hi, nice to see you. Tony and Claire are meeting up for what's known as an alignment session. It's a chance for them to get to know each other, but it's also a process that enables her to understand exactly what makes Tony tick, to find out his plans and goals, and to make sure they're both aligned in terms of the work that will follow to get Tony on track.
It's these limiting beliefs that people have that sabotage them. You know, one of the first things I do when I'm taking on a new client is really get them to focus on, you know, why are you doing this? What do you want to achieve? What do you want to have in your life that you haven't got at the moment? And what does this business need to do and achieve for you to have the life you want to have?
Exactly.
Pretty quickly, Claire gets to the bottom of what's holding Tony back and starts to put some shape to the plan.
Because then we can sell you and it's genuine. I think part of what you're struggling with perhaps is you're not sure who and what you're sure who and what you are, but you aren't sure what you are in the business context. So I think it's important we sort of get some clarity on this company. What would you get passionate about doing in the business?
Well, I mean, it's the speaking side of things. It is that public speaking. I enjoy being in front of people. I enjoy like crowds, audiences, stuff like that. I have no
Is there anything you'd like the business to achieve?
There's one thing I would have loved for it to achieve in the sort of first 10 years is doing a TED talk.
Fantastic. Yeah.
That's
yeah.
like the...
Yeah, absolutely. My son is a huge advocate of TED Talks.
I think TED's brilliant. I think it's fantastic. But
so that would be a fabulous goal, Tony.
To go for, so that's like the...
Yeah.
Tony's just starting out on his journey into business. But in London, there's another Action Coach business coach who's achieved for his client Louis what for many business owners would be the dream solution: to have their business running successfully without them needing to be there. Parag Prasad is based in the city and runs a hugely successful business coaching operation.
I was actually an employee in the corporate world, so I had a job as an accountant, and I used to work not very far from this office now for a global organisation called PricewaterhouseCoopers in the centre of London. My life really has completely radically changed in the last 7 years. Before I just had a job. Now, first of all, I'm able to actually make a difference to other people's lives. Louis was a guy I met one day at a business workshop that I was delivering a few years ago. I think the best way of summarising where he was in a total state of chaos. He had a great business. This was the frustration. He always had a great business. Very, very good at what they do. They're in the PR industry. They are experts. But he as a person was just being pulled left, right and centre due to the cash concerns and the team and everything else.
Essentially, we'd come over a very challenging period for the agency. We'd taken on a huge piece of work. We delivered it with professionalism and very strong results, but it took its toll on me professionally and the agency, and it took its toll on me in my personal life as well.
It took up a lot of his time, a lot of his energy, a lot of his thoughts. I think there probably was an element of resentment of the business. It's something you start out and I could see with Louis, it's something he started out and he was really passionate about, and he's won awards and done amazing things, but it was starting to get to the point, I think, where he felt it was restricting him and really sort of sucking his energy away.
As soon as I had a business coach in place, I felt a huge amount of relief and reassurance that, first of all, I'd selected the right partner and that this solution was going to work for us. This was somebody who was explaining certain things that needed to happen within the organisation, and it all made sense. Essentially, these were the things that I didn't have the time and, most importantly, the headspace to think about.
His initial objectives were to get the business back on track financially, but also for his own life. He had a lot of other interests. He wanted to take his agency internationally. So he wanted to open other offices and have that presence abroad, which also linked in with his other goals around travel and experiencing other cultures and ways of living. That was very important to him. So there was a lifestyle element as well as a business growth element.
And we'll be back with Louis and Parag later to see what they did to turn things around. Tony's come along to a planning session with Claire in Roehampton. It's not only an opportunity for him to give some shape to his ideas, but it's also an opportunity to make new contacts.
I discharged from the army in March this year, and having spent the last 2 years in my service, or 3 years, in the injured kind of side of things after losing my leg in Afghan.
After the introductions, it's down to work, and Tony quickly finds that his military experience sits very well in a business planning situation.
If something goes one way, then that kind of feeds the decision that way. If a decision's something different, like the water's darker or whatever, then you go a different plan. Flexible.
Well, today with Tony, we're working through his business plans. And so we're looking at the key goals that he's established that he wants to achieve. At the alignment, we came up with 3-year goals. We're now breaking that down to what does he need to do in the next 90 days that gets him on track to achieve the goals he wants to achieve. All of our processes and plans are based on the assumption that at some point somebody either wants to exit their business or bring in a general manager who's going to run it for them. So that is where we come to the 6 steps that we go through as a process to help you get your business to the point where it's a commercial, profitable enterprise that could work without you.
Yeah, I mean, I started off, I had a vision of what I wanted to be doing, but it was quite wide. So now to have someone who's helping me streamline it, realise I can say no, and I have boundaries on what I will and won't do, and focusing on the things that mean the most to me, and also, you know, generate the best revenue for me. That's perfect. So to that extent, it's helped me immeasurably.
So what is going to be the most pressing things that you're going to do sort of in the next 2 weeks before we speak again?
Well, the marketing plan, that marketing and PR plan of how are we going to sort of generate a wider understanding that I exist in this format, and also then that more, it's almost cold calling, but, you know, sending brochures and leaflets to schools, and how are we going to grab their attention, how are you going to make it stand out from the crowd,
and how can I best help you with that?
I think honest feedback. If we, you know, when we develop something, you know, maybe fire it over to you and say, you know, can you just run your eye over this? What do you think works? What doesn't work?
Sure,
In short, I feel a lot clearer now about where I've got to go, what I've got to target, and don't feel like there are, you know, 100 roads to choose and I can take any one of them. I actually realise that I've got some very definite tracks to go and beat down, and hopefully we'll see at the end of that what in the next 90 days what we can achieve just before we go off the Dakar. So it'll be interesting.
Tony's come to Wales as part of his final preparations for the Dakar Rally. He's taking part in Wales Rally GB, which is the British leg of the World Rally Championships. Race to Recovery have entered several crews, not just the teams who'll be racing the Dakar, and this is a key part of their programme to help injured servicemen build a new life through racing. For Tony, it's just another day in the office, but this gruelling competition keeps all the drivers out on the Welsh tracks right into the evening. And back in the service park, team principal Ben Gott is waiting anxiously for his drivers to get back for essential maintenance. The World Rally teams have long since returned, and their drivers can relax and enjoy some team hospitality, but the wait goes on for Ben and the others. Finally, Tony comes into sight, and the preparation for tomorrow's stages can begin.
Yeah, really good.